Hi everyone, so today we're going to do a deep dive into the Bureau of Labor Statistics occupational outlook. And now they run this analysis every couple of years and they try and figure out what type of roles are likely to expand over the coming decade. So I did a deep dive into some of the roles that have a median pay above 100,000. We've got kind of 4 more general roles that I think are open to most people, and then 2 more specialist roles just to include at the end. I'll share an analysis of the kind of overall trends, looking at the big picture, and hopefully some key takeaways. If you're currently thinking about a career change, you're thinking about career progression, or maybe you're brand new to the market right now and trying to figure out what roles are going to be changing over time. So let's dig straight into it. So we're going to start off by looking at probably the most obvious one, which is the software engineering roles. If you've heard the trend over the last 12 months of kind of AI and that whole engineering, this is really a kind of a long-term trend that more and more is going to be done by computers. And so if you're thinking about a high-profile role to go into and you have the interest and the skills to do that, software development is a really interesting approach. This is perhaps going to be one of the biggest net new roles that we're going to see within this 100K plus median pay bracket. And this is probably the most interesting role because it appears twice in the analysis. The entry-level software developer role and then the manager-level role as well. So at the entry level, you're looking at over 130,000 median salary. We're actually going to see a net new growth of over 400,000 new roles over the next 10 years. So this is a kind of an expanding area of interest. And if you're thinking about a career switch or entering the market, this is probably one of the strongest signals that you could get for a market that's going to grow and is going to be able to generate a lot of wealth. Likewise, if you're going into management positions, the manager roles are going to grow. They're growing at 15% over the next 10 years. And the median salary there is significantly higher. It's one of the highest in the sample at 170,000. So that's a really interesting way to kind of start and think about. If you're more interested in the financial side, I actually looked at the financial manager role. This is another one that's included in that 100K plus bracket. So you're going to see, if you look on the management side first, 16% growth in the net new roles there, 156K median salary. So again, it's kind of right up there with kind of a very high wealth creation field. You need a bachelor's in business or economics, but you also need that work experience. That's where this kind of entry-level analysis comes in. I started to look at what are potential feeder paths. This is just one example. Going into accounting, you're actually seeing a significant growth there as well. That's kind of in line with a lot of occupations, that kind of 4% growth. So 67,000 new roles over the next 10 years. But the median salary there is still quite high at 80,000, which is somewhat comparable to a kind of a high level kind of entry level role for a new graduate into the business world. And for the accountant role, for instance, you'll need a bachelor's in accounting, but there's also pathways through financial analyst roles or potential sideways entry from some other business roles as well. The third one we're going to look at is medical and health service managers. Obviously, with the kind of increased aging population and with increased focus on healthcare, the administration of that healthcare is going to be increasingly important. It's not just medical professions, but actually the kind of administrative side as well. So the role in the occupational health, the occupational outlook handbook is the medical and health service managers. You can see 28% growth in net new roles there, 111K median salary, so it's pretty high. You need a bachelor's degree, but you need that experience as well to get into that role. And that experience will come from some kind of administrative type role, or maybe more of a clinical side as well. So you can kind of look at potential pathways into that. It's not going to be kind of as clear cut, but what you want to do is think about how you're going to get experience early on in your career that's going to allow you to run a medical site, a medical facility on the administration side, and that's going to be pretty sustained long-term growth prospect for you. The next one I'm going to look at is kind of the more general operational management type role. This is what you would think about if you're kind of advancing along a career path in business, where you think about what does a C-suite type job look like? A chief operating officer, even the chief executive officer. Now, the entry level roles here, these are not included in the handbook, but there are numerous different pathways here. It's probably the most open. Generally, you want a bachelor's degree to enter those roles. but you're going to see career growth going into more management. Some people will get an MBA, it's definitely not required, but there's 147,000 new roles expected over the next 10 years with over 100K median salary. This is the lowest median salary, but as you'll see in the slide that I'm going to share at the end, there are so many different people in this profession. The span of different opportunities is quite high. And so what you're probably seeing is more operations managers outside of kind of core cities where the median salary is going to be a little bit lower. So we're going to briefly touch on 2 specialist occupations, but I decided not to deep dive this because I wanted to make this more generally applicable. But as they're included in the 100K plus bracket, I wanted to share them as well. First, lawyers. Now, lawyers will need to go to law school, so this is incurring a long-term training pathway. And you're going to need to incur generally a lot of additional debt if you don't have other options to go into this pathway. But the median salary for a lawyer is 146K, which is comparable to some of the high end from the other occupations we looked at. And then there's this progression to partner over the long term. I don't know too much about that personally, but just for inclusion's sake. And the other one that I wanted to really call out as well is this nurse practitioner role. And for anyone interested in the medical field that doesn't want to go down the full path of becoming an MD, this is a really interesting opportunity because the growth in this area is huge. 118,000 new roles, 126K median salary. You generally need this master's in advanced practice nursing, so it does require a little bit more advanced training, but certainly not as long a pathway as the full kind of MD pathway. And then there is promotion opportunities into management, research, and academia. So it could be a really interesting pathway for people to explore who are early in their career and thinking about that path. But let's take a step back quickly and look at the big picture. So what I plotted here was all these different roles that we looked at. And you see in dark blue is the current jobs as of 2022. And then the light blue is the projected new jobs that are going to be incurred between 2022 and 2032. The green line is just the median salary, just for comparison. But what you can see is on the far left side, the highest paid roles, computer and IS managers, it's actually not a whole bunch of them, but they are going to grow quite significantly, which is why we included them in this list. And then as you progress down, you can see on the far right, you have your general and ops managers. Now, there's a ton of people in this occupation currently, but you are going to see quite a lot of growth. Just the median salary is a bit lower. Slap bang in the middle is our software developer. That's the largest net increase. So overall numerical increase in occupations. And the median salary there, again, is pretty high. So if I was recommending someone to think solely based on job opportunities and pay, that's potentially the market I would be recommending for someone right now. But obviously interest does play a huge part in your success in the role. And so you really want to think about, are you going to enjoy that kind of work day to day, and what are potential pathways for the future? If you're really interested in exploring a little bit more, there's kind of a few different resources that I wanted to shout out. The first is this book. This is the one that most people already know about. Maybe you cover this in college or high school. It's called What Color Is Your Parachute? It basically contains a whole bunch of exercises to try and help you understand where your skills and passions lie to make sure you're finding the right career path for you. So that's a really good kind of like baseline book, very inexpensive. I think one of the more interesting guides that I've found is this guide called 80,000 Hours. What this does is it actually starts to think about how you're going to have impact in your career. The 80,000 hours is, assuming a 40-year working lifetime, 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year. That's how you get your 80,000 hours. But they have career guides for all the most impactful roles, and a bunch of really good exercises there. So this is all free. I would highly recommend anyone considering career changes to take a look at this website. And then a couple of more specific websites that are geared towards US employees. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has their occupational outlook handbook. This is actually where I started this analysis, and I thought it was so interesting that I decided to make a video. But you can take a look at all the different highest paying, fastest growing roles, and then actually deep dive into all these different occupations. It's kind of really a gold mine of information. And it's compiled by people who are looking at this market data every month and doing the reports that you'll see in the Wall Street Journal or on CNN. And this is all the data that's behind that. So it's pretty robust, and I would recommend taking a look through that if you're interested. One of the other things that I kind of really like on the website is this educational level. So while we focused on median salaries of 100K or more, what they do also do is go through a number of different roles that don't require that kind of level of bachelor's, master's, or professional education, and look at potential outlooks for different career paths there. So you can see how those kind of different opportunities may be available for those that haven't gotten that 4-year bachelor's degree or a more advanced degree. And then the final resource I wanted to call out was ONAT Online. This is again another website that's built by and maintained by the government. So they have all this kind of career path data, and you get kind of veteran information, which is good for those of us who served in the military. You can look through different kind of search patterns. You can see what what's growing the most. You can look at all different kind of links between different occupations if you're thinking about career changing. So highly recommend that. And that is the kind of extent to the video today. Hopefully that's going to give you some good resources for career planning. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out, make a comment on this video. I do read them all, and I'm very excited to continue talking about this subject. Thanks very much. Take care.